Hello, y'all. How y'all doing? I'm Erich Thomas,
What's up, everybody? I'm Jakita Thomas.
and we're co-founders of Pharaoh's Conclave, and we are new to the Live Hip Hop Daily family, and we're bringing to you the GameFi Podcast.
Yes.
So again, I'm welcoming you guys. Once again, this is the first time that we brought this, and interestingly enough, why GameFi?
So one thing about the gaming community, well, let me start before that by saying what GameFi stands for. GameFi stands for gaming, anime or art, music, esports, and film. One of the things that we've discovered over the many years that we've been running our company, Pharaoh's Conclave, which focuses on the esports industry, is that all of these communities are really, really connected. Typically, gamers love anime and comic books and art and music. Gaming and hip hop go hand in hand. So we really wanted to create a forum that would allow for us to explore all of these different aspects together and showcase some artists and creators within those spaces that you may not be familiar with, but that you should become familiar with.
And with that said, in the tradition of one of our favorite movies, Brown Sugar, I'm going to ask you this leading question. So, Dr. J, when did you fall in love with video games?
I actually fell in love with video games when I was 7 years old. I was in the second grade in my school's computer lab. I had a computer at home, but it didn't have any really cool games on it. And so one day a week, they'd let us go to the computer lab at my school. Shout out to Oak Grove Elementary, Eagles. And I would play games like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, the Oregon Trail, all the old school ones. Shout out to all the 80s babies. And so that's really where I fell in love with gaming. Those games there. Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego, all of those. So
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, no doubt.
Where in the World, Where is Time.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. They also had a TV show.
They did.
With the a cappella group. They used to sing the theme song.
Where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego. Man, they was killing that thing.
For sure.
And so with that, GameFi is the name of the podcast, and we're doing this in segments. So Our first segment is going to be about the gaming or gaming industry. And we have a special guest. His name is Ron Jones with Indie Cluster.
Yes.
And we're going to pull him in, and we're going to chat for a little bit.
Absolutely. Learn a little bit about his story.
All right.
Yay!
Hey, Ron, how's it going? And as usual with with Zoom, we can't hear anything. I don't think that's on you. It's actually probably on us with our laptops here. We're gonna hear his audio while we're doing this.
Let's see.
So you're good. Just hold on for a second. We have to turn up our end, and we're probably gonna need to bring headphones next time for ourselves. So,
Really?
yes, because if he talks, then you're gonna hear him through our microphone.
Oh, I hear you. Let's see. Let's try this. Shallow. Nope.
I know if I turn mine on, but it's gonna pick up everything.
Yeah, but I have mine on too. So turn yours on. Cause it's coming through the system, right?
Yeah, I got the.
You
All right,
good
Ron,
here.
try one more time. Let's see if we got you.
He's
Nope.
on mute.
It shows
you
shows
can
yours.
ask him to unmute.
I did. S2. There it is.
Hey,
Go
what's
for
up?
it, Ron. Hey, we in there.
Come on, technology.
Awesome. All right.
Like it works.
Jay Black, is this sounding crazy?
I can hear you. This is good though, but I like to get the audio from Zoom.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
because it will produce just an audio file. Yes.
Perfect.
We're
We're in the house. We
We're
are in the
golden.
house. Go ahead.
You guys are still muted.
Oh.
Oh yeah, we sure are. Both of us are. I'll unmute since I'm recording. Hey, what's up?
I'm laughing because this is funny. Actually, let me unmute, not yours. Let me do it. Let's use mine. That way, as I'm talking, we don't get the feedback.
Yeah, that's true.
All
Good
right.
point.
All right. We're figuring this thing out, Ron. All right.
First day
Here we
growing
go.
pains.
So, Ron, Jones of Indie Cluster. We're just going to throw you a softball.
First of all, welcome.
Oh, yeah, welcome.
Welcome to GameFi.
Welcome. And so tell us a little bit more about number one question. In the tradition of brown sugar, and probably after this episode, I'm going to stop saying brown sugar.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But in the tradition of GameFi, when did you fall in love with video games?
It's kind of hard to pinpoint, honestly, because I grew up with video games, you know.
Tell
I
us
guess
the
you know, with
story.
my generation, you know, I grew up with the NES or the Super NES. I grew up playing the original Tetris, playing Super Mario Brothers, and not beating it. And I would probably say maybe like the first kind of shift that I had of video games being so personal to me was when my parents bought me a Game Boy for my birthday. So I had the original Game Boy. I had Tetris, Super Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon. So that was kind of like, that was probably like the first time I owned video games in my life, you know. But ever since there, you know, and it's not like I'm an avid, like I play video games all the time, but like I seem to connect uniquely to certain games at certain time periods in my life. So I would say that's when it started.
Awesome. So, with that, and that's like my favorite word, with that, all of a sudden, I don't know what's going on. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you're doing right now.
So as far as personally, or like more about the business, or
Well, you got this awesome T-shirt that says Indie Cluster, so I'm very interested in what that's all about.
okay. So yeah, so fast forward high school and college and whatnot, I ended up going to the Art Institute of Atlanta to study video game art and design. And then you know, got through that curriculum, met some great teachers, some great peers of mine, and some great industry folk. And after graduation, because of lack of certain jobs in the area, you know, I kind of had to turn that into a hustle, right? I didn't necessarily want to go to California, where, you know, the industry was a bit more volatile. So I decided to stay here in Atlanta, and just make games on my own, just to get better, to practice here and there, because, you know, I was always interested in design, and I kind of saw myself having a future in that. So being an developer at the time, as the indie industry was booming, I'd noticed a need of resources and a kind of a connectivity for all of these I guess these games and these projects that was soon to come out. At that time, it was basically flooding the market, and that was before, you know, the whole idea of the indie apocalypse of just the market being so oversaturated with, you know, everything free on the internet when it comes to resources and tutorials. Everybody's making a video game, right? So kind of saw all of that, and wanted to kind of put together an initiative to help people, honestly, like myself, that wanted to just focus on making something cool, something great, something unique, but didn't necessarily have the connections or the resources or the influencer friendships or whatnot, the millions of dollars that it takes. So we built the Indie Cluster as an organization, of a platform to help people kind of connect to each other, help developers share tips and tutorials, favorite portals, and then also based on some of our experience, able to provide services to developers, and we're able to build our business model off of that.
That's really dope. Can you say a little bit more about what it took to actually start the platform and what it took to actually get Indie Cluster kind of off the ground?
Sure. So um, one thing that I had to keep reminding myself is how we basically got our start is accessing or taking advantage of an opportunity that was presented to myself that I didn't necessarily have the I guess have the I guess not necessarily the the talent or the brain, but it was basically an opportunity that I saw somebody else fitting better. I saw a number of people kind of fitting better, but they didn't necessarily know anything about it. So it was opportunities like that just kept coming. I kept having to be in the right room at the right time. So how it really got its start, I was basically thinking about uh, some kind of group or collective, whether it's a Facebook page, whether it's a hashtag or something that can um, uh, document or act as a directory, if you will, for independent games here in Atlanta. And as I was kind of thinking about that, mulling it over, seeing what might be best, Andrew Greenberg of the GDA, Georgia Game Developers Association, was actually looking for someone similar to kind of head up an indie section in the local conference, Siege. So we ended up having, and he was one of my first video game teachers. That was back in '07. So, I've had a pretty good relationship, mentorship with him for a while now. So yeah, we was kind of talking it out, and we basically pitched each other the idea at the same time. So we had our first run. We had an indie section at the expo hall at Siege, and then it was kind of my idea to just kind of grow that for more than just a booth at one event, So kind of wanted to be more of a helpful service, more of a community that can just grow and kind of and take take win, if you will. So that's kind of how the first one kind of started, and that's really been our base here in Atlanta. So that's our foundation.
That's pretty cool. And with that, what are some of the obstacles that you've come across, and how did you overcome some of those obstacles? Because I know it's pretty hairy out there.
Right. Besides obviously, personal obstacles and dealing with self, trying to conquer yourself, and learning about humility, all this other kind of stuff, and your drive, and all of us as creators, we imposter syndrome, all that kind of stuff. All of that aside, I think some of the obstacles the business had to go through was actually defining what it was. And part of that, half of that was, I would say, was the change of the market. Because we were always an organization that did what others didn't or chose not to do. That was always growing and developing, and the indies themselves and the industry themselves, new things were coming out. So our first cluster, I believe, was 2014, and a number of things that just came out. I think Minecraft at that time probably had just gotten sold to Microsoft to put indies on the map. I think Greenlight from Steam just went away, so that kind of flooded the gates. A lot of the new famous tutorial YouTubers was probably just getting started or wasn't even around at that time. So it was a market that was changing, and people were from all over were trying to figure out how to monetize it, and what was going to be stable and whatnot. So we was kind of doing the same, basically just trying to fill what people's needs were. We attempted a podcast, we attempted a game jam at some point, and we found out our issue, or not an issue, but our a dilemma of ours was figuring out how to keep developers coming back, because oftentimes indies, um, they show up when they need something,
Right.
uh, because they have like a resources. So they're here for one thing, they can't necessarily afford to stay for the long run, right? So as long as that transaction is stable, we can have a stable influx of clients.
Yeah.
So for the individual, we wanted to kind of tap into that and see if there was any way that we can increase our engagement with that individual by offering more passive services. Um, so yeah, so half kind of the market and half we were kind of growing to find out what we can afford to give, what we can afford to put a paywall behind, and really what we did. We really want to be a nonprofit? Is that what we actually were? Can we afford the paperwork and the staff and whatnot?
Facts,
So
facts. Oh, man.
there's definitely a lot as a new business, as a startup, trying to find our footing in a market that isn't necessarily stable.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I have two kind of questions. One is, where are you based? Like, where are you from originally? And the second one is, what kind of advice would you have for indie game developers who are looking to, figure out, how do I break into this industry?
hmm So I'm originally from Queens. I always get I always get crap when I talk about where I'm from. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Originally from Queens, but I moved when I was 7. So I say I grew up in South Carolina, because that's kind of, went through middle school, high school, all that kind of stuff. And then once I graduated high school, Anderson, South Carolina, T.L. Hanna, I came to Atlanta in '07, and that's basically kind of that next chapter of my life. So all my game career and that whole era has been since I've been in Atlanta, and I've been here ever since. So the business kind of got its foothold here because it kind of grew out of the community that we've been able to establish here. Because it's much like a family environment. We're kind of big, but not so big. So it's kind of developed this inner um, inner I guess intermingling type of web of success that we've all kind of had to play a
Yeah,
part in.
ecosystem.
Right. Um, so yeah, that's kind of, I guess that's kind of how that was able to come about. And as far as advice for indies, I think adaptability. Hopefully, some of the things I've said about the business already can show how being able to adapt, being able to do your own research and learn from really anywhere is important. It's just a good, um, I guess, attribute of life, really. But if you really want to kind of be be commercially successful, um, you definitely want to be able to kind of find out what trends you might want to ride, who might be making games like you, ways you can monetize so you can survive and actually make sure your game gets out the door and not uh, not bankrupt, but basically your lights getting cut off before you actually release. So that's in today's market. I would advise that, as well as
Accountability. Accountability.
yeah, as well as just passion. You're not necessarily going to you can't go into it thinking that you're going to make money. Really, you can't go into it thinking that you're going to make Minecraft. You definitely might have a hit on your hands. You definitely might have a great idea, do a lot of fun, but success, you really have to find your own definition. It's not always going to be about the money. It's
Yeah.
not always going to be about being bought by EA or having like a million followers or viewers on Twitch or whatnot. There's nothing wrong with creating something unique and then kind of fully letting that blossom into its own thing. So
Right.
that's you kind of have to have that relationship with each of your projects, because you're gonna have more than one project. once you learn how to finish something, that's really going to be the test if you can keep going and if you can kind of enjoy the journey, not just the success part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the journey is what it's all about.
And so, Ron, now that you've dropped all of those wonderful gems, those huge, humongous gems, pearls, and everything else, what do you have coming up, and what can we look forward to seeing coming out of Indie Cluster?
And how can people find you?
So you can go to indiecluster.com. We're actually rebranding or revitalizing our website to be a bit more shifted towards our new business model, which is based on memberships. So look forward to that, as far as we can give a more directed, personal outlet for our services for that studio, for that indie team. But you can also just go to the website and follow our Twitter, all our social media and Facebook and whatnot. Also our newsletter, just to keep up with everything that might be going on. Me personally, I'm an artist and game developer myself. I kind of push all my projects to the back end because the business is kind of it's exciting for me enough to create something that other people can kind of feed off of, and so I can sustain myself by watching other people's success for now, at least, until I can find the time to work on my own projects. But I'm actually currently working on a Valentine's game that I'm trying to release within the next couple weeks or so. But we'll see about that. I also have a coloring book I want to work on for Black History Month. But that's all.
Awesome. That'd be awesome right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So dropping it here.
We'll have to have you back on once it's ready.
Definitely. And you brought up something cool too, Ron. You just talking about the business and Indie Cluster and being an independent developer. What age can you start? And I get this question all the time. How old can you be in starting this, and when should you start?
You can literally start at any age. If you can understand what a keyboard is, if you can understand how to create objectives and find fun on paper, then you can start as soon as you can start talking. But I would definitely advise anybody, or I would definitely advise any child, any student, any parent to get their kids interested in video games to definitely look into local online classes, summer camps, workshops, anything like that, because one of the beautiful things that I learned about when I was learning this industry and learning how to make games is it's literally just a different way of thinking about life, understanding code, and it's honestly something that anybody could pick up, like learning a second language, which I always kind of compare it to. That's kind of how I understood what I was programming, by you're just talking to a computer, and that's really the way that if you can think like that, then you'll start comparing apples and oranges, if you will. Say if you want to put your kid into Spanish classes or this or that, try a coding class, or try some of the things that they can actually not that they can't monetize off other things, but getting your kids into a coding class, I believe is definitely a strong career opportunity, can lead to something further on in the future. And whether they just want to make video games or they just want to understand world a little bit better, it's really something that I advise people to get into as soon as they can.
I appreciate that.
No doubt.
That is a message that we like to give out to our parents, especially when it comes to this. Well, Ron Jones with Indie Cluster, we thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part. We're looking forward to that coloring book and have you back out with us.
And that Valentine's Day game. Let's talk about that.
And that is next week, but I don't know if it'll be ready by next week.
It will. Positive vibes, positive energy.
Yeah, we got to put it out in the universe, right?
That's all
So,
right.
Hey, we'll do
I
it. Hey,
appreciate
and
it,
I'll
guys.
play. I'll play it. And I remember the first game that I met with Ron. He had this hip hop game. It was like aliens, and they were shooting down the city and all that kind of stuff. And that's my favorite game from him. So I'll see about that Valentine's Day. I'll give it a chance.
Awesome.
Awesome. Appreciate you, and we'll be looking forward to what and we'll be in contact as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Ron.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care. You too. That was awesome. He dropped some serious nuggets on that one.
I think that might be the first time I ever heard Ron talk that much.
Yeah, no doubt. That's cool though.
All right, so
nuggets
we'll
dropped.
take a break right here.
Yeah.
And then we'll be right back with our next segment, which will be the art segment.
Yes, come on, GameFi. Welcome back to GameFi, the podcast that focuses on gaming, art, music, esports, and film. We just had an amazing guest on, Ron Jones, who is the head of Indie Cluster to represent the gaming side. And now we're getting ready to transition into art. And with us, we have a Mr. Dedrin Sneed.
Yeah, Dedrin. So it's
Subsume.
Subsume. That name, you got to tell me a little bit more about that name, Subsume. But before we get into that, we have a simple question that I think inquiring minds would like to know. So, Dedrin, when did you fall in love with video games?
Oh wow. The moment I fell in love with video games was probably Miss Pac-Man. So it started when I was a kid, and the rural Eastern North Carolina. Atari was my first love. Like that was it. That was just such a thing. And like video games itself, like the thing of like the quarter arcades. That's just where like I was really just born and raised. And there was only one video game in like our whole county. That kind of showed you we were very rural, out in the middle of nowhere. And at this small store was a Miss Pac-Man game. And like, I just remember just as a kid, it was just everything to like, just have a couple quarters in your pocket and walk like 2 miles down the road to this little one-stop town. And once it got street-like town and play Miss Pac-Man. And that, to my day, is probably one of my favorite games of all time. And from there, I just knew I wanted to learn how people made that game. Dope. Yeah, I've been chasing video games ever since.
Aren't we all? And I tell my students about that all the time.
Yeah, no doubt. So, you've already told us a lot about yourself in terms of being from North Carolina. I didn't know any of that about you. That's real dope. How did you get started? How did you get started in art? And I see, is this art behind you? Is that yours? The pieces behind you?
Well, it is a collection of fellow collaborators, with us on a lot of projects. We get the chance to connect and collaborate with a lot of different visual artists, digital artists, also writers and producers. So this is a kind of a wall of fame if we could start you with fellow collaborators. So none of this is my direct art in sense. I've done some design and some development in co-collaboration with most of the stuff behind us. But it's a great kind of reminder of all the projects we've done and some things to come.
Very cool. So let's talk about Subsume then. How'd you get Subsume, going? What was the journey to Subsume for you?
And what's the significance of the name Subsume?
Yeah.
Well, subsume is, by English definition, means to include one thing into another. And so it's the idea of being included without effort. So versus saying things like diversity or inclusion, or having to make actual efforts to see things being included in a general or popular space, we take the idea of being subsumed in that space where we have our own gravity with our own art and entertainment and stories and mediums that bring clients and bring customers and fans to us. And so with that, it's a way for us to be part of the conversation by just doing the things that we're great at.
And see, that's what I'm talking about right there. The symbolism. A true writer is going to make sure that the symbolism in the name and the art really means something. So that's what I'm talking about. You better educate them. Better educate them.
How long has Subsume been around? And are you based? Where are you based, and how wide your reach?
Oh, that's a great question. So for us, Subsume is based here in Atlanta, Georgia. We're blessed to be in the Russell Center as one of their founding members, and for us, Subsume really was just the next logical step for myself as an independent creative, looking at the opportunity to not only be able to build story and build representation through art and through media, but looking at it as a career opportunity to develop other passions such as gaming and such as just social innovation. So I thought there was like a connection with a lot of the things that I've either been good at or been called on to do, and wanted to make this a space and a place that I could invite other creatives to be in a collaborative sense, a tide that would rise all boats. And so, being in the gaming space, for me, just to take a quick step
That's
back,
right.
I used to be a game tester over at Epic Games when I was back in North Carolina. So this is back with some very early stage stuff with them. The first two Gears of War. A lot of times through the early alts when North Carolina was with Red Hat and a couple other spaces really trying to build their gaming ecosystem. So I did localization work and some other parts. But then in a move to Atlanta, really just tried to put myself in the space of being a connector between gaming and education and technology. And so going a lot of our programs, even though we work in comics and animation for a lot of our stuff, looking to bring the gaming culture, particularly in esports, and showing how that can be connected with a lot of other mediums. So I feel like we were in the right space at the right time where a lot of this stuff started to intersect. And then it called for more clarity and more pronounced actions in esports and in this realm. And so that's where Subsume really became that transmedia platform in that sense.
Dope. That's really dope. Can you say more about the programs? What kinds of programs Subsume provides and services that Subsume provides to the community?
Yes, so Zoom primarily works as a turnkey creative agency that works through all points of those mediums again, art, animation, technology, and social development for clients such as Atlanta school systems. We've done work for Lexus. We've also worked with Georgia State and Georgia Tech in developing programs for creativity and for technology for their students as well. And what we're looking at from there is also just building community programs that engage and empower. Again, for an example, we have our Subsume Summit as an annual event that we're looking to expand out to 3 times this year. We work with the Auburn Avenue Research Library and bring in creators, particularly creators of color and those with marginalized voices, to kind of show them in arts and in media and in gaming. And so this will be our 3rd year of doing that. And so again, looking at also working with programs such as Fair Fight and Fair Count, where we had a chance to be on the Creative Council with Leader Stacey Abrams during that run, as well as with the Democratic National Convention as a creative partner in their Georgia program as well. So again, looking at being able to find that intersect between gaming, between art, and between community is something that subsumes. It's just simply part of our DNA.
So with that, it's really interesting to hear how you're connecting the different parts. Where sometimes a lot of people don't think when we're talking about gaming or anime, cosplay, and all of those different areas, the music, the esports, all that stuff. People think it's separate and everything is on an island. But companies like yourself and ours, we're striving to make sure that we pull everybody together. And then so that sometimes becomes an obstacle for us. But this next question, especially now that we're in the midst of COVID, of course, everybody had that obstacle to try to overcome. But what have some of the things that you've been doing to over some of the obstacles you may have seen recently or in the past that you've met and you've overcome, and how did you overcome those obstacles, or what are you doing to work to overcome those obstacles?
Oh, absolutely. So for me with Subsume, we launched our program right in the midst of COVID last year. So kind of coming out as a platform, and some of our projects definitely was impacted and affected by COVID. So for us, looking at a lot of the in-person spaces to hold events, to have programs, a lot of that, of course, had been canceled and still is in that same sense. So for us, we really lent on our digital capabilities as well as working more into gamings and more into esports, which um, is a little bit more insulated from that, but also was a popular space to learn and keep engaged with not only our fans and folks that we wanted to get the message out to, but also a new client base. And so with that, we turned to doing digital events such as the Black Futures Month, which we actually just held yesterday as a kickoff and the kind of showcase in a virtual sense
Right.
how we can still find ourselves included in all these programs and processes. So as other parts of our portfolio as well as points of interest such as animation and art still aren't as affected as some such as in-person gaming or in-person social events, the necessity for all of them and still the desire is still there. So we're looking at trying to make sure that we as creators and also trying to find a platform to create and allow others to pivot and still find themselves sustainable in the creative arts.
I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Can you say a little bit more about Black Futures Month? I know you mentioned that it just ended. What was the inspiration behind it? How did it go?
And I love that name,
I do
Black
too.
Futures Month.
Yes, yes. Come on, Afrofuturism.
Oh, absolutely. So with Black Futures Month, obviously for February, we all celebrate and appreciate the rich history and heritage of Black History Month. What we wanted to do within this time is to look at innovators right now that people can talk to and touch and support actively. That we felt like in these spheres were part of the creative renaissance that we're seeing, particularly among the Black creative diaspora, and give them an opportunity to be recognized in their time. A lot of times we see artists, particularly creatives and especially creators of color, not being recognized for their accomplishments, their achievements, and their impact on our daily lives until, unfortunately, it's till it's too late, until they're no longer with us. And so, what we thought about for Creative Futures Month is not only recognizing and celebrating their successes right now, but also creating a dialogue to which we see Black people, particularly Black creatives, as part of a speculative future of success. And so by visioning and showing people, particularly our youth, that there is a future for the Black creative space and creative voices, and our stories will live on in the future. I think it gives us a point of empowerment and an appreciation for what we have with us right now. And so it's a way that we get a chance to galvanize early in the month and be able to keep that energy that
I
sustains us the
know
rest of the year.
exactly, and I know one of the classes that we teach a comic book creation course and a class, and we have a pathway for it. And we talk to parents and students about getting into it, and so a lot of them are hesitant. Comic books, or I don't know how to draw, but we'll say, okay, it's not about the drawing for you. Like, I know you understand the writing side of things, right?
Right.
And understanding that they could come from that end. And so what age would you say, or would you be able to give some advice to a parent or a student about getting into animation or trying it out in comic book creation or things, something like that? What advice would you have for them?
Right. I think with that sense is that it's one, not a linear path, that there's a lot of parts and points of access that people can be involved in say, making a book or making a game. Everybody doesn't have to be visually artistically inclined. You
Right.
can look for somebody has to write it, somebody has to letter it, somebody has to ink it, somebody has to physically put it together, and somebody has to sell and market it. Right. So there's a particular pathway for a lot of different things that you can still find yourself in those fandoms. Like for myself, speaking to gaming, I work with Skillshot as their developer of partnerships. So I don't directly get a chance to play or develop video games, but what I get a chance to do is to connect endemic and non-endemic brands with esports and kind of show them how to be part of that conversation. And
Right.
so we talk about that a lot, that you don't actually have to be the person or next to the person that's actually playing the game or making the book, but you can find what you're passionate about and make that a career and make that a way to be sustainable and include it in the things that you like to do.
Before we let you go, how can someone who's listening to this, how can they reach out to you? How can they find you? And what are some things you have coming up on the horizon?
Absolutely. So thank you for that. People can reach out to me directly either on LinkedIn or Facebook, or I think on Instagram. I'm Dedren Sneed. Not too many Dedrens around, so Dedren. You can find me there. For us at our media side with Subsume, you can find us at subsumelife.com. And on social platforms, if you just search for Subsume under that creative banner, hopefully you'll be able to find us there. For us, we have several books coming out in comic book and graphic novel form that we're looking forward to. Likewise, we just finished developing our very first game for a client here in Atlanta for the Atlanta Public School System that we're eager to get some things finalized so we can announce that. We're also working on our next endeavor here for Juneteenth with Subsume, to which obviously we love to be able to bring that Black creative energy and story and legacy that is centered around Atlanta. But again, an invitation to the world to be able to imbibe with us in that. And then there's always just additional social opportunities for us to support each other through COVID, as well as to look just for the daily opportunity to support creative voices.
That sounds amazing. We'll definitely have to have you back as those different things roll out. So congratulations on all of that in advance. We definitely want to, of course, we definitely want to thank you for coming on GameFi, sharing your experience, your story. You dropped a lot of pearls, a lot of nuggets of wisdom that I think will be really useful to the community at large. So we really appreciate you.
Absolutely. No, I really appreciate you all and your example and the legacy that you folks are building, and likewise being able to have this type of connection through our community is absolutely necessary. So I appreciate it and applaud y'all at the same time. So for all of us, I'm very thankful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right. Absolutely. Onward and upward.
I mean, that's what we're going to continue to do.
Yes.
We're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to push forward, and we're going to continue to grow together.
Yep.
That's what we're doing. So, Dedren, thanks again, man. And look forward to talking to you soon, and look forward to participating in your upcoming events as well.
Yep. Is your child or a young person you know constantly playing video games or watching others play online? If so, then your child has likely heard of esports or competitive video gaming. Did you know that just like in traditional sports like football or basketball, there are a host of careers in esports, and that these careers are fun and lucrative? Want to know how your young person can get started? Sign them up for Camp Level Up. Camp Level Up is a 100% virtual 6-week summer experience. It exposes youth to careers in the esports or competitive video gaming industry. Young people can learn to become a pro gamer, comic book creator, or a game designer. Camp Level Up's curriculum is STEM accredited and maps to Common Core standards. During their summer experience, youth will meet esports professionals and build their skills. The summer session begins May 31st, 2021. Camp Level Up is open to young people from kindergarten through 12th grade. Marry your young person's passion to their purpose. Check Camp Level Up for pricing and registration at www.camplevelup.com. That's Camp LVL Up, all one word, .com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to GameFi, the GameFi Podcast, where we talk everything gaming, arts, music, esports, and film related.
Yes.
Our next guest up is going to be Zion the Fro, Zion the Magnificent, Zion the Zion of all Zions. This young man, I've been working with him since he was a teenager. He is a full-on adult.
Yes.
He is doing his thing out there. And I'm just amazed, and I'm so happy at what you're doing and what you've been working on. And you starting to look more and more like your daddy. I just noticed that. You got a little facial hair and everything. I'm like, where did that come from? Lord have mercy. But Zion, welcome. Welcome.
It's a blessing to be on the show. I thank you for having me. You know, it's always good to sit down and talk with y'all. You know, I'm always taking some type of gem away from the conversation or something. So, you know, I'm just happy to be here.
Same here. So we're going to start off our number one question. So Zion, when did you fall in love with video games?
Ooh, I fell in love with video games, I believe around like 3 years old. My brother, he had me playing the PlayStation. Well, so I thought I was playing the PlayStation,
Wait
the
a
gray
minute.
one. You know, him being a big brother, unplugging the controller, but he was actually playing. Yeah, it was one of those situations. Um, but as I got older and I graduated, I graduated,
I'm trying not to laugh.
and I was able to,
Trying not to
finally
laugh.
hold the sticks. I had to, turn up on them with all the video games, from Tekken to Mortal Kombat to Halo. That's when I really got on it. Halo on the first Xbox.
Okay.
And I'm 22 now, so that's
It's
about
funny.
like 19 years, I believe.
You good and grown, boy. You good.
Lord
and
have
grown.
mercy. But that's fine. The reason why I'm laughing is because I did the same thing with my babies.
Yes.
If I wanted to play, and I was like, okay, y'all not finna mess up my game. This is serious. This Madden is serious. This quarter is serious. My season is serious. So I would just give them the controller, and then I would react when stuff happened and be like, "Good job, you did it." But now they sniping me on Fortnite and everything else. So like you said, they turning up on me now, and that's what we're doing.
What you get?
So let's talk. Let's tell everybody about you. What's going on? Who is Zion? And tell us more about you and how you got started.
Okay. Zion is a artist, entertainer, dancer, singer, writer, actor, a jack of all trades. Um, I first got my start. My sister and I, we were called elementary style when we were in elementary. We were doing talent shows and whatnot. Then we went on to do praise dancing with this group called Visions, this praise dance group called Visions, led by Miss Monique Barshango. And so from there, my sister and I decided to go and venture off into our own thing. And we were called Raise the Praise. And so we were praise dancing at different churches and whatnot. But my sister is 4 years older than I am. So by the time it was time for me to enter into high school, she was going into college. And so I was kind of like in this space of, the other half of Raise the Praise is out the state. What am I going to do now? And so I started doing the interviewing of celebrities and whatnot. From Nick Cannon to Music Soul Child to Stephen A. Smith, you name it. I'm you know I'm more than likely I've been in a room with them or I've interviewed them. And I was always told, like, you have a voice, you should really start using it. And I've always wanted to be like an artist. So my junior year of high school, I made my first single, Splash. And I ended up, the first day I recorded it, the first time I recorded it, I ended up, the same day I had a show already. And, I've just been going on from there. I've had the opportunity to perform Essence Festival, Center Stage, Bronner Brothers Hair Show. I opened up. Oh no, I won New York City Apollo, first place. And I've had the opportunity to open up for Silk, Drew Hill, Keith Sweat, 112. And right now, we're in the middle of the pandemic, but you got to keep the wheels turning. So I just released a new single called Backseat. So, y'all make sure y'all go get that as well. And Zion is a he's a people person that just want to make make everybody smile and share his gifts with everyone else, because I believe we were put here on this earth to, make somebody else's life better with our gifts and our talents. So that's who Zion.
Absolutely.
That's a quick little rundown of who Zion is.
Yes. I love it. You talked about, COVID and the impact that it has had on not only all creatives really, but performers especially. What's been the like hardest part? And then what are some of the things that you've been doing to navigate this new world that we're in now?
The hardest part for me has been like not being able to be on stage. And tailoring your music to, performance, being in front of an audience. You feed off of your audience. When you're out there every weekend performing for people and they knowing your songs, knowing your lyrics and your music, that kind of tends to like just put in your mind like, okay, I know this kind of sound is going to make my audience react this way. So it's a little different because that connection isn't there. Everything is through like the internet. But a way that I've been just trying to navigate through that is just staying in the studio. Also I'll be doing some virtual shows. I've done one already for the commissioners of DeKalb County. And
Nice.
Thank you. And I have another one coming up on the 19th. I forget the actual name for it, but I'll be doing like a little music video along with it as well. That's, I just gave y'all a little sneak.
You did.
Okay.
That was an exclusive.
First heard on GameFi, Zion the Magnificent. I'm just so real quick. I just want to get it because I know you growing. People. You had Lil Bow Wow, then he wanted to be Bow Wow, and you was Zion. So are you still Zion the Fro? Have you changed that, or what are we doing?
I have changed it from Zion to Fro. I'm just going by Zion Moore, my real name.
The good name.
Zion the Fro. Yeah. Zion the Fro was like it was given to me by my older brother. It was first my gamer tag. That's crazy how we can, just intertwine that on in with games, but that was my gamer tag. And so of course I had a big fro, and I just took it and ran with it, and it started being Zion the Fro on everything, social media, Zion the Fro for my interviews and stuff like that. But once I became an artist, I was like, I look up to Michael Jackson. I look up to Usher Raymond. I look up to Justin Timberlake, Chris Brown. I need to go by my real name, Zion Moore. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that I give everybody more of myself. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, I hear you.
Mama name him Zion Moore. We gonna call him Zion Moore.
His mama named him Zion Moore. We gonna call him Zion Moore. For sure. And I like how, and I didn't even know that. Go ahead.
Oh yes. I was about to say I was almost Zarther or something like that, because my dad, he's a junior, and I'm the fourth out of I'm the fourth child, and I'm the last Z. All of us are Z's. Mm-hmm. And they were just like, well, is he gonna be the third and everybody else have a Z except for him, or what? But thank God my mom was like, nah, we just don't.
Real talk, because I don't give him a Zarther doesn't ring off the same way that Zion does. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Nah. Next on the stage, Zarther. Nah. That's not what you want to hear. And it was cool also to figure out. It was cool also to figure out that it was your gamer tag.
Yeah, that's
your
dope.
gamer tag. I didn't even know that, so I'm learning something new about you as well. And I remember first meeting you, and I really couldn't see you when I was in the pews, but I could see your hair when you were dancing and carrying on in front of the church. So it fit. But I mean, to see you maturing and you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
And you're doing your thing now. So
beautiful.
what would be some advice you would give to the next Zion or the next young person who wants to make a mark on whatever they're doing? What would you say to them, and what would you even go back and say to yourself that you might do something a little different, some advice that you would give?
Don't be afraid to always be yourself. Because that's going to be the very thing that attracts people to you. You being yourself, your authentic self, there's not another you. You know what I'm saying? Just be yourself. Stay consistent. Practice every day. Because that's the thing that really separates you from everybody else as well. How consistent you are, and your productivity and how you can put it out. How much you can put out for people to see. Okay, he's actually doing something, and he's serious about what he does. But yeah, just being yourself, even if you have like those moments where you like, this not gonna work, but it just feels right. Do it, and don't let anyone who hasn't done what you're currently doing, don't let them pull you away or drive you astray to what you feel and is right. Because sometimes as young people, we can get caught up in an elder telling us, hey, I don't think this would work, or nah, that's not what you're doing isn't right. When in fact they haven't even taken the path that you have taken, that you're currently taking. And sometimes, because out of respect, you would follow what they're saying, only to come to find out, like, wait a minute, I still need to be myself, and that's not me. Like, I understand growing and learning and stuff like that.
There you go.
But that's not me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's something I would tell an up and coming artist or younger Zion. Just really be yourself. It's really, I know that's one of the cliche things to say, but a lot of people are out here trying to be something that they're not. And that cliche thing wouldn't be like so cliche if people would just stick to being themselves, and not try to be someone else.
I really do.
That's right, because nobody can do you like you. You know what I mean? Nobody can be you and bring what you bring to the world like you can. Only you can bring it. That's really dope.
So also, I want you to tell everybody where are you based? Where are you from? Go ahead and rep your city.
ATL, Georgia. The Decatur, where is greater. That's where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? Young Z, I go by Young Z from the 404. Sometimes I was thinking about making a new gamer tag and just being Young Z, but it might be taken. But yeah, I'm from.
But I don't think nobody got.
I'm from Decatur, where
from the
it's
404.
greater.
But I don't think nobody got.
Truly, it is greater.
I like that.
What are you listening to right now? Yeah, no doubt. What are you listening to right now? What are you bumping like? What are you bumping like?
Currently I'm listening to my unreleased music.
Listen to yourself.
Yeah.
I like that.
But outside of myself, I just recently downloaded Jasmine Sullivan's album. Crazy. And
Yeah, she's so talented.
Oh my god. That's she's like an eighth wonder of this world. Those vocals are crazy. And then the subject matters that she's talking about, they're like real life and they're personal. And that's what I really like about her work and her craft, is because she really put life experiences into the music. And I feel like those life experiences and those real life situations is what music is missing right now. Because I'm more so of a feels type person. I want to feel where you're coming from when you talk to me over the track or whatever, over the record. And she really takes that on and embodies that within this last project that she just recently put out.
I agree. Plus,
She
the
is
girl can
awesome.
she just do some good old flat foot singing.
Is she the one singing the national anthem?
Yes, she's singing the national
Yeah,
anthem.
for the Super Bowl.
For the Super
So
Bowl,
that's going to be real cool.
It is. It's gonna be
Over
dope.
and under on the time, I don't know, but it's going to be great to hear. But and just thank you again, Zion, man. I can't thank you enough, and I can't let you know enough how proud we are of you and what you've been doing and what you're doing. You know, you always got our support. We always gonna do whatever we can to put you out. You always be the face of PCX.
Yes.
You still got your shoes. You still got the PCX ones. You still got them.
The PCX
Still got them.
You still got your. You still got
still. He said still.
Wait a minute.
Did he not get him from the jump?
Yeah, he got them.
Okay.
Where your shoes at? Where your PCX ones?
Listen. He looking around.
Oh Lord, man, you done lost some shoes.
No, he did. I bet he didn't get them.
Oh Lord.
Who done dropped? What had happened?
Somebody done dropped the ball, because you know how I am about shoes. You know how I am about shoes. I will rock some shoes.
Yes,
I still have shoes from 9th grade, and I've been out of high school since 2017. So that was 2013, and I'm still rocking shoes from back then.
Don't worry, we're gonna put you on the.
So and then you said they were
We're gonna read you. Don't worry. Don't even.
You said they were ones.
They
on top
are.
of that.
Yeah.
So that
They are.
that really
we got
just
you.
hurt
Don't
my
worry
feelings.
about it. We got you.
That really hurt my feelings.
We got you. Don't worry, it's coming. It's
No
coming.
worries.
You know what I'm
No
saying?
worries.
Because I need them on your feet when you sliding across, doing your pop locking and sliding.
Yes.
I need those ones on your feet.
We do.
Once I get them, I will make sure I do a video so that y'all can post it up on the page, and I can post it up on my page so we can get the word out even more. So whip my shirt on. Whip my shirt on to match.
We got you.
Oh, hey! Well, he did get his shirt. He did get his
Well,
shirt.
I'm sure he got that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother.
So where can people find you? Where can people? You got what?
Oh, he got compliments on the shirt.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. I originally wore my what are those? My top 3 Jordan 1s with those because they red, blue, and white. So they were just bouncing off the shirt and whatnot with the buttons, the ABYX. But where people can find me, I'm on all social media platforms at I am Zion Moore. You can find my music on all streaming platforms at Zion Moore. That's ZION MOORE.
Excellent.
And again, y'all make sure y'all go get that new single. It's called Backseat, and it's a banger.
All right, for sure. We're gonna make sure we get that. We're gonna make sure we play it and let everybody know. And again, Zion, appreciate you, brother, man. You doing
So
your
proud of
thing.
you,
So
man.
can't wait to, as we continue doing this, we're gonna have you back again. When COVID is gone, when we have some more shows
Have
and we
you
do
sliding
everything,
across
we're
the
gonna have you
floor.
sliding across the stage, handing out trophies and showing out like we did at DreamHack, man. It's gonna be wild and crazy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, because I've been trying to get on the stage somewhere, because that energy that I feel from the people supporting me, while I do what I do best, is just like, it's none other. I haven't felt a feeling like that doing anything else. But when I'm up on that stage and you literally feel thousands of people, of people's energy sources just coming straight to you, directly to you, it's like, wow, this is a surreal moment. Like, I feel you out there. I feel you individually. So yeah, we get this thing rolling. We're gonna be up there, and we're gonna turn up.
That's it. That's what's up.
Well, once again, thank you so much. This is Decatur's finest, Zion Moore. We appreciate you.
For sure. We'll catch up with you. We out here. All right, that was Zion Moore, coming straight out of Decatur, doing this thing. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to jump right back into this. This is the GameFi Podcast. See you in 2 and 2.
The gaming industry is booming. It's a $150 billion industry. That's billion with a B. Black and brown youth consume games at a 73% rate. But Black and brown people make up less than 5% of the workforce building those games. The problem is that the industry has not invited and welcomed Black and brown youth to find where they fit. The images that they see of people working at the highest levels don't look like them. They can't see how they can break in and navigate through. It's not clear how to get started. Black and brown youth miss out on opportunities to marry their passion to their purpose. They also miss out on getting access to high-paying jobs in the gaming industry, jobs that can help them build generational wealth and transform their communities. PCX created a pipeline to show them the way. It includes an online skills-building platform, a league, and an apprenticeship program. The Youth Esports League, or YEL, creates a safe space for youth to compete, apply and develop skills, and win championships. YEL safely supports, guides, and mentors youth from kindergarten through college. Registration is currently open, so learn more about the Youth Esports League and how you can get your young person registered by visiting www.pcxnow.com. All right, so welcome back to GameFi the podcast. We're so excited to have you here with us. We're about to hear from she's just seriously a boss woman.
Boss!
On so many fronts. So proud to have Miss Carolyn Pitt on from Film Connects. Representing the film industry. Super excited to hear about the company, all the growth it's been experiencing, what's happening, how the film industry's really been navigating this COVID season too. I'm sure you have lots to share with us. So now I know that you're in film, but let me ask you this question, Miss Carolyn. Answer me this, riddle me this. Are you a gamer? And if so, when did you fall in love with gaming?
First of all, sis, thanks for having me. And it takes one to know one. So from one boss to another, very excited to be with you both today. And I'm glad you asked me that. A little known fact, I am a gamer. My son would probably be surprised to hear me describe myself that way, but I fell in love with gaming with Dungeons and Dragons, which tells you how long ago it was. I was an Intellivision and Atari fan back in the day.
Intellivision.
You name it. Centipede.
Television.
So
love it.
So yes, I was definitely a gamer. I spent a good amount of my time doing this, and I think good hand-eye coordination came out of it. I became an excellent driver as a result of it. I'm convinced.
Facts. Transferable skills.
Okay. I see.
So now tell us more about you, where you're from, and then tell us about Film Connects as well.
Will, I'm trying to get this light to be not as harsh. There we go. That's a little bit better. So I'm Carolyn Pitt. I am from Long Island, New York. However, I've lived in Atlanta for more than 20 years. So when people ask if I'm from here, I have to always pause and go, yeah, no. But I grew up here, even though I actually was raised in Long Island. I moved here right after college. And so I'm an IP and entertainment attorney by trade, and I've always been a creative by birth. And I have founded a company that's called Film Connects. We are the job marketplace for productions. And so what we do is we connect stakeholders. And at this point, that includes studios, producers, music labels, and corporate brands to vetted local crews. So we make sure that experienced and incredible crew members in all of the production hubs throughout the US can be easily found and hired to work with productions that come to their hometowns.
That's dope. That's dope. How has it been in COVID time, kind of making that happen? Because I'm pretty sure, the film industry's had to change a lot about the way that it does what it does. So can you say more about like what that impact has been and how you've been able through Film Connects to help, bridge that gap?
Absolutely, you're right. So COVID has devastated the film industry and the TV industry as well. Every production stopped, ground to a halt immediately in March, and stayed that way for a few months. And so what we've been able to do is empower our community to find alternative sources of income. So even though it was harder to get jobs in production, we've used our platform to elevate other opportunities so people can continue to make money. I also had the opportunity to address Congress on behalf of the film industry and underserved founders. And this was right before the CARES Act was passed, and they were toying around with the stimulus package and figuring out who should get money and how much. I had the opportunity to speak and address Congress, which was pretty cool. And another thing that we've done that really has been impactful is we are providing compliance officers on our platform. So for folks who have been able to sit through and get a certification online for compliance work to help productions get back to work quickly and safely, we now have them on our site, so they're easy to find and to hire. We've also partnered with another organization to provide COVID testing to productions. And so that also enables productions to quickly restart. Here in Georgia, where we're headquartered, there are more than 40 TV shows and films actively filming. So we actually are back pretty close to our pre-COVID status. However, most other hubs, especially LA and New York, have not been able to do that. And so we're working with them and getting ready for the spike in hiring that is about to happen now that the vaccines are here to save the day. So we'll just have to see when we're able to get folks back to work. When we are, Film Connects will be the mechanism to do it safely and quickly.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
What do you think has been the reason or the rationale why Georgia's been able to kind of ramp back up so much more quickly than some of the, more usual suspects in terms of like LA and New York?
It's a good question. So for LA, unfortunately, and New York, both of them have had spikes. Not that we haven't had them here in Georgia. LA also had wildfires and some other factors. And in particular, LA County has been really struggling with the virus. However, here in Georgia, we've had, I'm not going to say lenient, more flexible way of looking at some of the recommendations of the CDC. And so that has enabled many of the productions to continue rolling or get back to work faster. What I'll say, though, knock on wood, is that they've been able to do it safely. So we actually have one of our team members who is currently on set, and she's serving in a COVID capacity, which is really fascinating. She's talked about the zones and the different color shirts and craft services now being individually wrapped portions. And it takes a lot more time now to shoot content. The cost factor is between 25 to 30% of additional cost now because of PPE and other things that are regulated. But we have found a way. And you have to keep in mind too that Georgia is the busiest production hub in the world. So we always have more production than anywhere else in the US. And because we're more flexible, there are some TV shows and films that have opted to come here since they weren't able to film in other places that they initially thought of filming.
That's the opportunities that we were really talking about. COVID, and I tell people this all the time, bittersweet. For us, we're in video games, and I was classroom teaching as well. End of the year teaching, remotely, but living where I was living anyway, which was online and digitally. So it allowed us to be able to be a lot more agile in what we were going to do as far as the company, Pharaoh's Conclave was concerned, and a lot of other ones. But again, being in position to take advantage of the opportunity, I think that was a key. And I see you doing the same thing in what you're doing, again, being able and ready to do that.
What has been the impact to local crew during this time? Because I know that Film Connects is about creating opportunities for producers and for kind of above the line folks to be able to engage local crew as opposed to having kind of to ship it all in. So how's that shifted and changed over the course of the pandemic?
What I would say is there's more focus now on creating content because a lot of that can be done remotely. So writers and editors have been busy. Folks have been getting those certifications in compliance and in other areas. And there's a lot of people that are waiting and praying. However, they're still connecting on our platform and getting a chance to see what opportunities there are. We've actually had folks reach out to us who wanted to shoot content over Zoom, as you and I are now talking, and said, hey, can you find us a director in Georgia, with these specifications that can coach someone to create the content that they will film themselves. We've had other folks reach out to say, we still want to keep filming. We just want to use a much smaller crew from a respectable distance. Can you help to surface that talent for us? And so it has looked a little different. It was fortunate that we were in an election year because there's content that people were creating specific to the election that they continued to create because they needed to. If it had been, different content or a different year, they might not have been as pressed to figure out ways to do it, but that's been helpful.
Right.
Very cool. So what do you have sort of coming up? What are you guys working on right now? What's Film Connects working on right now? What does the future look like? I know, you and I have traveled this entrepreneurship journey together. What have been some of the big challenges aside from COVID that you faced, and how have you overcome those? And then what's the future looking like for you?
Yeah, so, it's so interesting when you talk to any founder and you ask challenges, the first thing they say is raising capital is really hard. And then if you talk to women or people of color, they definitely say it's even harder. When you talk to Black women, we're like, man, that is the hardest thing to do. Fortunately, we were a recipient of Google's Black Founder Fund, and we also have raised some additional capital. So we are still in this fundraising game. It's going well. And that is helping our future to look even brighter. We recently signed a partnership with Sony Music. So we are expanding to now provide sound and song remixers and engineers. And so what productions look like and how we can staff them is continuing to expand. We're looking forward to live events. Those are also, in our our view as well. And so our team is expanding, our partnerships are expanding, and we're continuing to partner with organizations who already serve their member bases that they already serve, are folks that need to know about and participate in Film Connect. So we're out there, in these streets, making it happen for folks looking for work and looking for incredible talent.
So how can people find you? How can they connect to you? Literally and figuratively.
Yes. Absolutely. Come find us. So you can find us on any and all social channels as @FilmConnects, which is F as in Frank, ILM as in Mary, CONNX. And you can find me at my personal handle is @Pitesque, PITTESQUE. And so look on IG, on Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn. You can keep up with what we're up to. And if you are either a crew member or a stakeholder, a producer that's looking for talent, definitely check us out, www.filmconnects.com, and create a profile. Looking forward to learning more about what you're working on.
Now, Carolyn, you talked earlier about your son and you being a gamer and he's a gamer. What is some advice? Because we teach K through 12 and collegiate students. Two things. What would be some advice you would have for students who are interested? But then what would be some advice you would give to parents about supporting your young person with something they want to do in the digital entertainment area, like video games or something else?
Yeah, I'd say for young people that they should definitely do a little bit of research because there's so much more to the gaming game than there ever was before. There are scholarships, there are schools that are now looking for you if you have solid skills. My son is a PS5, I'm not going to say fanatic, I'll just say fan. He has taken what he does from not only gaming, but he has his own, he's a YouTube blogger now. So he has his own channel and it features some of his gaming. So he's always been stats man. So he provides stats and some of his gaming and some of the other things that are relevant to football and basketball. You can find him at Just Jaden, JUSTJXDEN. And so what I would say is be creative and research and see what's out there. And to the parents, I would say be open-minded because, you know, as a parent, you're like, you are wasting time and money and you need to focus on, you know, your academics. As long as your young person is doing well in school, this gaming thing might just pay off. So, you know, in addition to better driving skills, they might just get a scholarship and a good career out of it.
That's right. That's right. So they won't be living in your basement for forever.
That's what I'm saying. They could have their own basement attached to their own house.
See what I'm saying? Exactly.
Oh man, that is awesome. That is awesome, and that's what I love to hear. You know, we have ours at home doing the same thing. My son's running in and out with a game that he's designing himself or some artwork, and my daughter is the dancer, and my little one he's on Madden every other day, and they're just discovering all these different things. And we've challenged them. You know, we've said, hey, you know, if you're really going to do it, you know, start your own channel, do these different things. And we weren't thinking that we were going to have to help. Right. But then they said, hey, you said you were going to help us. And so we've had to do that. So I'm glad to hear more and more parents doing that. And that needs to be heard. And I think sometimes parents think they're, you know, by themselves and they don't know what to do. So I appreciate that. I appreciate those words of wisdom and everything that you've said thus far. Atlanta is what? Let me ask you this question. What do you think that makes Atlanta the hub that it has become? What is it really about Atlanta that's helping us to do that?
Atlanta is fire. We have everything we need here except a beach. And, you know, we got a little man-made one not too far away, but you have all these colleges here. What's that? You have got amazing colleges.
No, we were saying, can we go ahead and get somebody to start it?
I know somebody needs to go ahead and put the proper beach in. But aside from that, we've got all that we need. We've got talent. We've got colleges. We've got HBCUs. We are the 4th largest and fastest growing tech hub. And I contend the best place to build a business if you are a Black founder. So there's a very vibrant and supportive tech community. There's just any and all things we could possibly want are here, and it's affordable. The weather is incredible. Honestly, it is as though the world is finally catching up and realizing how incredible Atlanta is. And you can see by all of the incoming. So Microsoft and Google and Apple are all beginning to realize just how critical this city is and how much we have going on. And so it's an exciting time to be here. It's an exciting time to be in technology and gaming and film and TV, because we're the epicenter and we have the talent to be able to build out our enterprises as we build them. So yeah, it's interesting that it wasn't well known until very recently just how much we have going on. Atlanta's dope.
I don't know. I knew that since I was born. I knew that, you know, back in the 78 when I was born. I knew it had to be something about Atlanta. That was, and I'm glad you talked about the HBCUs as well. You know, we're both HBCU grads, and you know we have our HBCU made shirts on. And I was wondering when we were going to be able to get that into the podcast and be able to pub our shirts. But I'm a graduate of Tuskegee University. And Dr. J is a graduate.
The mighty Spelman College.
and think about what HBCUs have meant to the political scene and just what's going on in history right now. You know, we had Stacey Abrams, very instrumental in bringing out the vote and registering people to vote, a graduate of Spelman. We had Raphael Warnock to take a Senate seat in Georgia as a African American, as a Black male, and that has never happened. He was the first to do that. So, you know, and he's a graduate of Morehouse College, and then you have Howard University being represented in the White House the Vice President Kamala Harris. I mean, again, HBCUs are relevant, and so
Always have been.
and have always been, and so places like Atlanta, and the Carolinas, and just across the country, from here to Mississippi and beyond, we just again want to make sure people know and people take stock in what and all the different things we're doing, and they can see ourselves doing it. That's the other reason. That's one of the reasons why we did this podcast, why we wanted to do GameFi, because not only did we want to talk about the different industries, but we wanted to talk about the people in those industries and what those people look like.
Absolutely.
Because again, you can't really dream about what it is you want to be when you grow up if you don't see yourself doing that.
Yep.
So looking at you, Miss Pitt, and then looking at Dr. J over here, looking at myself, now you can really say if you want to be a boss in the film industry, if you want to be a boss in the gaming industry, computer programming, or a teacher or podcast or anything like that, you can do that. And we appreciate you, and we thank you so much for being here with us and sharing with us.
Yes, Carolyn, we love us some Film Connects. And so anytime you want to leverage this platform for the benefit of the film industry or for the benefit of Film Connects, you just let us know.
Thank you kindly. I will do that. And I'll be looking for my matching sweatshirt in the mail.
Yes, I can make that happen. That can be arranged.
Always glad to spend time with you guys, though, for real. So thank you for having me.
Of course. And we'll have you on as things continue to progress. As you close deals now, you let us know, and we'll come on here and shout together.
I love it. We'll do it. Sure. And same, please keep me posted on all that's going on with Pharaoh's Conclave, because I know you've got a lot going on your end as well. So looking forward to celebrating together.
Yes, absolutely.
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right, be safe.
Be safe out there and keep making those deals.
Making it happen, one deal at a time. Great to see you guys. Have a good Sunday.
The Status Flow Box is a monthly curated package. Achieve focus while playing without prescription drugs. It contains CBD oil product pairings you can infuse, apparel, and strategies to improve your focus as you play and level up your game. Each box is delivered to your doorstep every month. Your Status Flow Box is available in 1, 3, or 12 months increments for $75 per month. In 3 easy steps, you can level up. You pick your Status Flow box and sign up. We ship you a Status Flow box, and you enjoy your Status Flow life. Sign up for your box now at www.statusflowcbd.com and find your focused, relaxed state of mind.
Welcome back, everybody, to the GameFi Podcast, where we talk everything gaming, arts, music, esports, film. We are here in Atlanta, Georgia, downtown off Walker Street, with the Live Hip Hop Daily family. And, we are talking. So now we're moving to this part of the podcast that really speaks to my heart and my soul. We're at the esports segment. And coming in, we have one of our own young scholars that not only did Dr. J teach in her classroom, computer science. She is a wonderful young lady. She has her own channel. She is the Boardy McBoard. I'm going to let her tell you who she is. I'm not going to steal all of her thunder, but Andrea has been definitely a godsend and a help with us. She teaches. She's a coach. She casts for us. She does all kind of things.
She's
and so,
amazing.
We're going to get her an opportunity to come on and tell us a little bit more about herself.
Boardy McBoard. What it do, girl? I think she's still trying to come in.
She's still trying to connect. Well, I tell you, this Zoom, I tell you.
Listen.
Well, while we're waiting on Andrea to pull in here, is there anything you've learned or?
Man, I've learned so much over the course of today's episode. Just in terms of the positioning of Atlanta and Georgia within the film industry. I mean, I knew it was big. I knew it was a hub, but to really hear that we were the first to be able to kind of get back and running off the ground for better or for
I'm
worse.
telling you, it's Atlanta, man.
Child.
We do great things. We do big things. You know?
And then to
that makes sense.
And then to hear from Subsume, and of course it's always dope to hear from Zion. That boy know he can dance and sing. I've learned a lot about the connectivity, and of course, as we suspected, everybody is connected somehow to gaming. So that's been pretty awesome as well. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Listen, we're going to pivot a little bit then.
And that's what this has been. You know, COVID has been the time of the pivot.
It has.
So Miss Andrew, she had to step away for a second and do some things on her end. And she was so patient waiting on us. But we're going to bring her back in on the next week.
Yeah.
We'll have a chance to bring her back in.
Absolutely.
And get to know her. But, you know, because this is where we live in the esports segment.
We can fill in.
I think we can kind of fill in.
Step right on in.
All right. So, well, you know what? How do you want to start this off, Dr. J? How do you want to really talk about this?
Well, let's just kind of start from the beginning. You guys already know that we talked about how we fell in love with gaming. I talked about how I fell in love, but you didn't talk about how you fell in love.
I did not.
How did you fall in love with gaming?
Gaming for me was just it was inevitable. You know, Commodore 64, games like Ghostbusters, then I played other Type Blasters. Actually, I probably started with Type Blaster first because we were supposed to learn how to type. And in my school, they didn't have a typing class. So I would be on a Type Blaster. But then I would play Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Mm-hmm. I would play Oregon Trail. Mm-hmm. Ghostbusters, that was one of my favorite games. Really figuring out how to trap the ghosts and the Marshmallow Man. It was really, the production of it was awesome. Then I would play Intellivision, and I know Carolyn talked about Intellivision. That's a shout out. Not many people talk about the Intellivision. They want to go straight to Atari and ColecoVision, some other stuff, but the Intellivision was awesome. So I played Pitfall. I had the E.T. game, which was kind of the death of video gaming for a while. They had a baseball game. They had a basketball game, a football game on there, but it had, of course, you had your Space Invaders, you had your Donkey Kong.
Yep.
They had this burger game where you make the burgers and stuff, and I've seen a recent mobile game that's very similar to that, and I was like, they just took that from my games back in the day. But at that point, I was sold, and so I went from there to Sega everything. And then my best friend had Nintendo everything, and so he would come to my house. We'd do Sega. We'd go to his house and play Nintendo. Interestingly enough, I didn't really get into PlayStation, my own PlayStation, until I graduated college. One of the reasons why is because everybody I knew in college had a PlayStation,
right.
But I didn't want to really spend that kind of money for a video game, and so I was like, I was hardcore with arcades still a little bit. Mm-hmm. I was enjoying those. Gold Mine at South DeKalb Mall.
Yes.
I spent a lot of money there. I don't know the name of the one that was at North DeKalb Mall, but I would spend money there as well. But, I really did enjoy games, but I was also a movie guy too. Yeah. So I enjoyed movies, and then how movies started translating into the video game world and vice versa. And then I learned that a lot of those gaming engines that were being used to design video games were the same technology being used for some of those like epic battle scenes in like Lord of the Rings and those types of games, those type of movies. Even the MCU with Marvel, those movies, they were using those same technologies. But that's where I fell in love with video games and been in it ever since. Now, of course, I became an engineer. I went into the school system. I taught math and science. I became a youth minister and went back into the classroom. But during that time, as a member of my fraternity and member of the church, I'm on Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Shouts out to the Qs. We were always about community service, and we were always about youth outreach as well. And so one of the things I wanted to do was figure out, okay, how could I help young people find their passion? Because I would ask questions like, what would you want to be when you grow up? But it'd be crickets. They wouldn't say anything. And so I was like, okay, well, what can I do to help them expose them to some things so they can start to dream?
Yeah.
And that was, and that was where our first nonprofit started. But from there, I've always been working with young people. But then when this juggernaut of esports came on the scene, I think we really found our niche.
I think so too. There were some, and still are in some respects, some challenges though. The gaming industry is a booming industry. It's a over $150 billion industry, but even though Black and brown youth are consuming games at a rate of 73%, Black and brown people only make up 5% of the workforce. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Black and brown people and youth especially haven't really been invited and welcomed in and said, hey, find where you fit within this larger industry. It's not clear what the entry points to the industry are. It's not clear how to navigate and move through. It's just sort of like challenging on every side. And then when you don't have a welcoming, inviting type of a feel to it, you kind of start to think, well, maybe this isn't for me. But what we do know is that when young people are not engaged in this industry, they not only miss out on the opportunity to get a high-paying job, a viable, lucrative career, but they also miss out on the opportunity to marry their passion of gaming with their purpose, whatever that may be. And so for us, we started Pharaoh's Conclave as a way to prepare young people for these careers. And so we, have been around now for about 3 years, but it's been really amazing to see the impact on young people's lives through our online learning platform, our youth league, and our apprenticeship program.
So those are the 3 areas that we've been working on and we've been focusing on, and we've actually seen a lot of growth in that.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that we had Carolyn. She was a part of this last segment that we had, and she talked about the Google Founders Fund.
Yes.
Black Founders Fund, that we also were a member of that cohort, and we were able to receive an award, and that helped us to continue to work on what we're doing currently right now.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Google.
Big shout out to Google and Jewel, Burt,
Danny,
Navarro,
the whole team,
Tony. We said it at the same time, but I mean, they really helped to mold us and help us to trim some of that fat off and really understand and get to the core of what we wanted to do and understand what we wanted to do. So
absolutely,
that was cool.
So I mean, I guess we can work our way through this ourselves.
The questions are the questions.
You know what I'm saying?
So
the questions are the questions.
So
what would you say like our biggest challenge has been to date?
Biggest challenge to date was, it used to be, I'm gonna say what it used to be. It used to be awareness.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm gonna talk about that, and we'll get on another one. I think we both probably thinking about the same one, another one. But to date, though, I think that challenge that has changed, and that's a different answer to that question. Yeah. It used to be awareness about what esports is, and about the careers and the opportunities that live inside of the industry and outside of the industry, traditionally and non-traditionally. We used to have to always, and we still do to some extent, but we would have to say, okay, we'd have to define esports.
Yeah.
We'd have to talk about the, $1.5 billion, and we have to talk about, where it started and what's going on in Atlanta.
Right.
And what age can you start in esports, and now dispelling the myth, one myth after another, parents not wanting their kids to play on video games, and just really hitting that used to be, but probably as of about 2-3 years ago, with Georgia being one of the states that allowed esports to become a scholastic athletic program.
Right.
So it was accepted and it was approved. And so then it came down from the Board of Education that esports is something that schools could go into. So now the conversations with the principals or the students or the teachers are different.
Yeah.
And that was one of the challenges, I would say, that is now, we're now overcoming, because we've had some longevity, and we've continued to work in that vein and get ourselves prepared to take on those opportunities.
I think I agree with you. I think that definitely used to be one of our biggest challenges. I would say that the biggest challenge that we have now is in managing the growth, because of the amazing non-dilutive capital that we were able to get from Google through the Black Founders Fund, and the amazing support of Goody Nation as well, who helped in supporting that effort with Google. it's allowed us to really grow our staff, to grow our capacity to do some of the really deep work that we've had to do as a startup to refine our message, refine who we are and how we communicate what we do. And so I think the biggest challenge that we really face now is making sure that we keep our eye on the prize.
Yes.
You know, keep our eye on the prize and stay focused and stay pushing and stay mashing. But certainly lots of different types of opportunities have begun to present themselves that weren't there a few years ago. Also, in this Black Lives Matter moment, it has afforded us the capacity to show up in these esports spaces as we are and not be labeled ghetto or not be labeled, you know, this, that, or the other, which I think is something that used to happen to us because, you know, I'm showing up in locks and Africa earrings and, you know, kente cloth skirts and, you know, so that's a different look than what historically had been a part of esports. And I think that was a challenge at one point in time. But I think, you know, we've been able to level up on people and really show them that you can show up fully as who you are and still be successful and still have an impact.
Exactly. Taking the high road. Yeah. You know, that was a mantra, even though, you know, sometimes we'll look at each other and we'll talk and, you know, we'll get mad and upset about things. But saying, okay, you know what, in the grand scheme of things, does that really impact the company? Does it really impact what we're trying to do?
Exactly.
And so, you know, that's distractions.
They are.
That we can't allow ourselves to be distracted by those different things. But also shouts out to the Arthur Blank Family Foundation. They too have believed in us and they've been supporting us almost since day one.
Yeah,
even with our previous, what was it? I always forget our first nonprofit. But you know, it was about youth outreach as well. They supported us then, and they're supporting us now with PCX Go Incorporated. So it's just amazing to see where we are, and we just keep showing up.
I think the piece of advice that I would give to somebody who's wanting to start a tech company or a company or entrepreneurship of any kind is that you have to be very clear about what your vision is, because you will have so many people who will tell you that your vision is not the right route.
I remember that.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many people told us, well, why are y'all focused on education? Nobody's doing education. Education isn't the play. But we know, because of our background as educators and because of our love for gaming, we knew that there was going to be a need to train the next generation of professionals within the gaming industry.
Right.
And sometimes you just gotta stick with what you know to be true, no matter what it is that people say. So in terms of, like, you know, what do we have coming up? How can people find us?
I'll let you take care of how to find us. You can say those. You can round those off really, really well. But we talk about some things that we have coming up. So with COVID, it allowed us to sit down and really plan out the year and what we want to do. So starting today, actually, we have our season 2 of our Youth Esports League that just kicked off today. We had the team side, so we have 4 teams in Atlanta or on the East Coast that are going to be the Eastern Conference. I always say coast, but the Eastern Conference that are going to be vying for, King of the Hill or Queen of the Hill when it comes to esports. And we have that started today, and so we'll be moving into our individuals starting on next weekend. And likewise, we'll on the Western Conference side, that'll be getting started up shortly as well. And so please make sure you looking out for us on that Youth Esports League on Discord. Pharaoh's Clave.
You doing it? You see, look at you doing it.
What is Pharaoh's Clave on, though?
It's on the Twitter.
It's the Twitter.
It's on the Twitter.
Oh, so Pharaoh's Conclave will be the Instagram. All right,
and the Book of Face.
And the Book of Face. You can also look me up or Pharaoh's Conclave on LinkedIn as well. We'll be dropping a lot of information on LinkedIn with everything that we got going on. We're going to continue this podcast, the GameFi Podcast. It's something new that we have going on. We have, then we're going to have the finals, then we're going to have the nationals. Then we'll be moving into, we're going to have a game design competition coming up real soon. We're going to have the MSI, or the Minority Serving Institutions Esports Invitational in September. That's coming up. We'll be planning for it.
Yeah.
There's a lot coming up.
The city of East Point, the Tri-Cities.
The Tri-Cities area, East Point, Hateville, and
College Park.
College Park.
Stand up. Yeah, so we're really looking
shouts out to Councilman Butler, Joshua Butler. Been knowing him for a long time.
That'll be in September.
That'll be in September. So we're going to continue to do that. A lot of good strategic partnerships are coming down the pipeline and have already happened. So we're going to continue to do that as well. Yeah. And just want you guys to ride this journey with us. You know, I just started locking my hair, and this is a journey.
Newbie.
So yeah, I'm a newbie. You know, I got a little hang time. But it's really cool. I'm really enjoying this podcast, and we're about to go ahead and wrap this one up. This very first podcast, the GameFi Podcast Show. You know, part of the Live Hip Hop Daily family, and we want to say thank you.
Yes.
To a few of our, first of all, thank you to our guests.
Yes.
Number one, thank you to our guests. In our gaming segment, we had Ron Jones with Indie Cluster. In our art segment, we had Dedrin Sneed of Subsume. In our music, we had our boy Zion, the real Zion Moore, Decatur's finest. In our esports segment, we held it down. And then also in our film segment, we had our good dear friend Carolyn Pitt of Film Connects as well. Yes. And so this has been awesome. It has been.
So make sure you stay tuned. Check us out. We're getting our little social medias together, so you know that'll be forthcoming, and we'll share the GameFi social medias.
Shouts out to
in the future.
Shouts out to Chemical Wear.
Yes.
She has been awesome. She's helping us out. She's getting it with Atlanta Gamer Life.
Yes.
Shouts out to Jay Black as well on the ones and twos.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, he's spinning records. You know, even though you're switching cameras, you're still spinning records and whatnot. We're doing our thing. So we also have a few sponsors.
Yes, we
do. And we want to make sure we thank those sponsors as well.
Absolutely.
Status Flow.
Yes.
Camp Level Up.
Yes.
The Youth Esports League.
Absolutely.
Atlanta Gamer Life.
Yes.
And Zion Moore.
Yeah.
So again, thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to be hitting you guys weekly. And we're going to be dropping nuggets throughout the week with vignettes and things of that nature. So, absolutely. You know, audio, video, podcast. This is awesome. So thank you again. Appreciate you guys. And
peace up. A-Town down.
Peace. 2 fingers.
The GameFi Podcast is written and produced by us, Jakita and Erich Thomas, along with Jay Black. Production assistance by Kimiko. Music created by Boy Y, Mary Riddle, Tiger Tracks, and Dylan Sitz for Epidemic Sound. Check us out on IG at GameFi Podcast. That's GameFi Podcast, all one word. Also, please like the GameFi Podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Those likes help others to find us and grow the community. Each one, reach one. Until next time, peace up, A-Town down.
Peace. 2 fingers.